knew that if we really loved each other, that I need somebody that loves my soul more than they love me. And everything we do had an eternal effect with it. So when we came together and made a decision, we knew it was more than just us. We know that we didn't have any examples to do what we were looking to do in our lives. That's kind of hard when you think about it. There's nobody who I can really think about around me that was able to hold out and, you know, to make it this far. So it was just a matter of knowing, stop lying to my body, or else I'm not even going to be able to be with the person I say I love. So if you really love somebody, you keep confusing their bodies, you guys can never really have a successful relationship as much as you would want it to be.
So after 7 years, like, what made you realize that you finally wanted to marry her?
Yes, and I kind of touched on that. Man, it was the moment when we stopped the madness. And because what began to happen was, I love you, sweetie, she became so jealous at times, man. You know, it was crazy. The girl just began to get real. I love her, but she just began to get kind of, yeah, I can use it crazy. Seriously. What was the stuff he was doing? I can't remember all of it. I'm serious. Like, what's some of the stuff?
First of all, wait a minute, hold on.
Oh.
Okay, it wasn't that I was getting so crazy, but he was crazy too.
That's right.
He was crazy because this was my whole issue, was that if I'm spending all this time with you, and we, you know, I'm calling you all the time, we having these close calls, I'm getting older, you know, why am I constantly playing? We're not 12 and 13 anymore. It's time to move on. And so, every time we would get really close, we would be talking all the time, you know, it would just be like bliss, you know. He'll be like, well, if you marry somebody else, I'll be your kid's uncle. I'm like, what? Are you crazy?
Now let me keep it real. Now what that stemmed from was a fear of commitment. Because even though my life was changed, it just was so hard for me to believe a woman could always be committed and faithful. You know, because growing up, I would hear girls be like, I only used him for his car. Or I only used him for this. I only used him for that. Or you know, so when you grow up hearing this constantly, I still had this hard thing. It seemed like when it got to the finish line, fellas, y'all can relate. It just was so hard to cross over the goal line. I think my fellas don't back me a little bit on that. It just, no fellas who are afraid of commitment? Just 1.5? Okay, we got 3 or 4 cues over there. All right. So, you know, my boys, you know, we all, but I'm going to tell y'all, man, it's such a fight to commit to anything, because any good thing is going to be tested. So just every time you're ready to go to the finish line, you're always going to have the hardest obstacles come your way. So just remember, it may be hard to commit, but that's what separates a man from a boy. A boy don't have to worry about how you're going to pay bills. A girl don't have to worry about how she's going to get through school because mama going to send her. When you become a man, you got to put away childish ways. So the issue was, I was a man still with childish ways. The whole issue is that y'all have this part of y'all that's ready to step into manhood, that's ready to step into womanhood, but you refuse to let go of childish ways. You still love recess too much. You still like recess way too much. And it wasn't until I was willing to let go of recess and become a man, answer my boy question, and finally say, you know what? We need to see if this thing is really real. Because number one, you done got too crazy. Obviously, I gotta get the last word. I done got too crazy. And brother, when she let me go, I said this earlier, when she let me go, ladies, when she let me go, fellas, when I let her go, and we began to date other people, didn't have sex, dated other people, got to see what was out there. I started meeting girls with road rage, couldn't stay on it. Road 5 seconds without cursing cars out. I started to see girls talking about my biological clock is ticking. I'm like, God, I just met you, let it tick. I'm like, man, so as I really started seeing what was out there, what you get into tonight? Oh, 2-for-1 drinks, turn up. What I began to see, and if y'all fall into those categories, please turn down. I hope that's none of y'all in the room, please. But when I began to see the foolishness that was really out there, and I had a woman who was willing to pray with me every night over the phone, a woman who would want to listen to me when I got off from work at night, you know, a woman who loved God more than she loved me and cared for my soul just as much as she cared about me, who would say, this is a Bible scripture I read today. Can I share it with you? Ooh, that's deep, man. So she really just stood out among the rest. Like she was on Venus because there was nobody on earth that could compare, according to all the people that I dated. And I'm telling y'all, the best thing you can do is just date. I'm talking interracial, I'm talking national. Just find out, I'm serious, some of y'all limited yourselves, but can we keep it real? I'm talking about just date. Ain't nothing wrong with that. When you know sex ain't involved, it's so much easier to date. You can ask all the good stuff. So what happened in your last relationship? Oh, really? You know, so you already know the question that actually became like a screening process. Just go through the day. Don't really spend too much early. You know, a good Chili's will do. You know, 2 for $20, whatever. You know, just whatever it is, just to quickly, whatever you do. Now,
when I was going on my dates, because he turned into my everything. But when I was going on my dates, you see, dating is not as much for the other person, but it's for you. Dating multiple people is for you because you get to find out what you like, what you don't like. Well, I don't really like when he said this. You know what you won't settle for when you date several people without sex. So when I was going on dates, you know, I realized that I don't really need to be married. That's what I started to realize. Since I was a child, I always said, I want to be a wife. I want to be a wife. I got to be a wife. I got to be a wife. Lord, if I'm not a wife, I don't think I'm going to make it. I got to a place that I said, Lord, with or without a husband, I'm going to serve you. With or without a spouse, I'll serve you. And I'll be happy in my singleness. When I tell y'all that I was so content, I started floating. I was living life to the full. I started talking to people, dating guys. Wasn't even a big deal to date guys. Wasn't even really tripping on what they was talking about, what they wasn't doing, I started worrying about what he was doing. I wonder what he doing, who he talking to, what he doing. My mind became free. And I was free to be me. I stopped being so concerned with, I gotta get married, I gotta have a baby, I gotta do this. And I started thinking about, what does Ashley like? What makes me so happy? God, I'm gonna spend this day with you today. I'm gonna serve you.